First, we're gonna. What was it? Second. So yesterday I put up. We had an interesting lesson in the page Kufrim Hay in the middle. It said first of all the mashal on the Ilan, then from the Chita. The Easter met the Shabbat Shemidainim Eila Eila Omar Chita. So first of all, I didn't know what it was, but also why is it needed? Why do you need the Chita here? Well, in page Kufrim Hay in the middle it says. So, first of all, I had a question. I wasn't sure what it is, but also, why is it need to add the chita? Now I found the medrash yesterday. I put it up on the WhatsApp, so that medrash helps us understand it because the medrash says this medrash is actually in the end of Parshas Vayishlach. It talks about the Zayin Malach. The Zayin Malachim of Malchus Edom means a mashal that all the parts of the wheat were arguing which one is the most important. And the Chita said, look in the end. The end is that everything was thrown away, and the chitim were turned into the actual wheat was turned into food. So that's a mashal at Umer Sa'elam and the soul. And much of Torah and Tikkun actually. So that maybe that is why it chose to bring it in, because in this medrash it's directly related to our own sugya here. Which is very interesting. It's all beremed, chulu. It doesn't write clearly, but I would say this is the reason he brought this type of. He brought this medrash here because this medrash actually talks about the topic we're dealing with. Which we still didn't finish, develop it till the end, but that's what I'm going to say in the end. Yeah, but we now back in top page Kufman Vov. But the whole. So you went back first to the mashal of the Ilan, then you got the mashal of the Chita, then you got the mashal of the Tipa. Then he went back to the Ilan. He described that the mashal of the Ilan describes the whole shtalshus, the X and the geza of the Ilan, the trunk of the tree. This is the Ein Sof Shel and the branches. The branches are the spheres, the 10 spheres of Atzilus, and the fruit is the ultimate purpose of the tree. Just like the tree, the ultimate purpose. The fruits and the mila, the ultimate purpose is the creation of the world. So now we got the second line, page the end of the line. Because he said, in the first line, interesting observation in the mashal. The fruit don't grow directly on the trunk of the tree, only on the branches of the tree. So that part of the mashal also applies in the nimsha. When you know that tzilus ayin hamakal yesh, that tzilus, which is a radiance of the stuff. That's the ayin hamakal yesh. Ki yesh v'yesh miyesh the ayin v'emtza. Is the creation of the yesh cannot be direct only to ayin ve'emtza. That tzilus memutza ve'emtza hamatzal nivoy. So the nimshal atzilus is the memutza, the ayin between the yesh ha'amit and yesh ha'nigla, the ayin, the yesh, the avish themselves, and creation. And atzilus is the memutza, the we call in modern language the interface. The mele. That's the in of the anaf. Pairs by the Mishami part. Also, the pairs are separate from the Ilan. Just like in the mashal, the pears, the fruits, like we said earlier in the mashal, the fruits eventually leave the tree. Either in the normal terms, that people that you take the fruits of the tree, but even if there's not person involved, the fruits fall off the tree in the end. So the fruits separate. So the nimshal is also the matter. They're separated from the stuff. They're tzias la'atzmi. But another point, the essence of the fruits is not the same as the essence of the tree. It's a different type of thing. They're nothing. The branches are continuation of the tree. Like he said earlier in the Mashal, the Mahusa and not the Mahusa, you learn are the same, but the peasant is different mitzvah, a different type of being. The same thing in the Nimsh. Like I said, the branches are part. All these details work out in the Nimshal that the Atzil is like a nafim. It's united with the Insof, and it's part of the Insof. Mashenk and the Nivoim are separate beings, different type of being. Another point is, repairs yesh gufei apri v'klipa. We said earlier that in a regular fruit, there's the inside of the fruit and there's the peel on top of the fruit. So there's a few levels. Same thing in the pre. So that was shot number one. The other mush, other nimshal, and the mushal book. Then he goes into another shot, it's a little different. So according to the first shot, the gufa ilans there in social matter, the anafim, tzilus, and the payers are the ilans biyah. There's another shot, gamish lema, gufa ilan, or atzilus. Atzilus itself is the gufa ilan. Actually, he says in Tikkun Zoya, in the Pasach Eliyah, that is every Friday. Pasach Eliyah, the Lashon is Milgov Il Shema, inside, in the inner part is the Shema, the Il Erech Atzilus, the Il Shaki de Ilon. That is the I guess it touches Shaki, the bread, the tree itself. Shezeo Aprinas Aos Akam Ve'em Batzilus. Maybe Shaki means the watering of the Ilan. In other words, just the Atzilus is the Ilan, and the Shema will go inside Atzilus. You have the Shaki the Ilan, the watering of the tree. So according to this second way of applying the mashal to the nimshal is the tree is Atzilus, not the era cab that's the shaki, and the Atzilus is the ilan. Because so basically he says, because we see in Tikkun Zoya he uses the word ilana and he talks about Atzilus. So mainly we can say that ilana is Atzilus itself. According to that understanding, one of the branches, and all Atzilus is special to breathe. That's a lower level. That's that the Aos Atzilus, that the radiance of Atzilus that reaches Elam HaBriyah. The A mid base Shvati, there's not capital the Briyah, Shem plus Shvati, or enough. Okay, so now he says another. So he brings another proof, that another way of explaining how the anafim, we find the concept of what's the anaf as a branch. Now shevet, it says in the memoriam of Matis, Mamidbo, in the Terba Midbo, Rosh Hamat, is Mata and shevet. Both are really, shevet is a stick, which comes from a branch. So in other words, the mush of just like Elon, we find in Tikkun Zoya that Elon, the price Atzilus, when it comes to shevet, which is the stick, the branch, we find in the Lashon applies to the Aos HaBriyah Shabbat Atzilus, because it says in Kabbalah that there's too much.
God is Atzilus in Bria.
Yeah, also Tzilas and Bria. That's the Makafta. That's like that's the branch of Tzilas that reaches Bria. We see the Lashon Shvatim. There's Makafta Tato the Bria. So we have there's Makava law, that's it. Makafta Tato is in Bria because it says in the Shvatim. Writes very Abraham is here that belonged it also. And that Yam Shal Shlomo HaMelech made a big pool, and there was the base buckle, the 12 cows made out of gold, I think, or copper, that they were holding that pool. Kabbalah explained it. The base buckle, the base shvatim, which is the Merkava, in other words, that visual image of a bunch of cows holding something on top of them that's similar to a Merkava, similar to a chariot, which is run by the horses. Again, it's like a sort of visual, a marshal to the concept of Merkava. She'enknes shvatim, that's the point. Shvatim va'anafim. The shvatim, shevet is like a stick, va'anafim, there are branches. The osa, tzil shlimsha ha'aviv ha'abit v'biyah. Ayin bio va'anina satel ha'visas l'tereret. So this concept, I want to look at the matters of there talks different matter and shevet in shvatim guf, but more specifically in the Maimar, in the Sofas Tereret, Maimar. Deal the Maimon in the Sakel Hashech Mechad Alachecha, over there discusses the concept of Shvatim. That's the Oras Atzilus and Biyah. The pairs. What are the pairs according to this marshal? Again, so the first way to explaining the marshal, the pairs for the Oras Biyah. But according to this way, the marshal, the pairs and the shamas. The pairs of the shamash and the pairs the Ilan. The shamas are called in Kabbalah sometimes pairs the Ilan, the fruits of the tree. It's another place in Chassidus it talks an expression in the Zohar. What is even? I'm not sure. Maybe even means. I don't know. Okay. So the point is, according to this second understanding of the marshal, the three stages, the branch of the tree, the trunk of the tree, and the branches, and the fruits are connected at Silas, all Atzilus B'Biyah, and the Shabbos. That's the three things. Okay. Okay, so we finished with the first marshal of Ilan. Now he's going to go to the new marshal base, the Agdolas Havlad. So, like I said, the Chita part he skips here. The Chita was just probably like a similar to Ilan. But now, what's the marshal base? Agdolas Havlad. Second marshal that we bought earlier is the Agdolas Havlad. The way the fetus is developed from the genetic material that starts the conception. What happens there, he says, that eventually the vlad, the fetus, has a lot of limbs. So the nimshal of that is the tzio adam alien. Kamaima, the tzio adam alien, we talk about the Elam Atzilus, Adam alien, also the tzio. Kamaima, ante da figas asat kunim, karin alain asat spheres, chachma maicha, bim and bim, but she was the kama figas of spheres, let's say. So what do we see from this entire discussion? The marshal, we have two masharim, three masharim. Marshal was, if you remember, at the beginning page, bottom of page Kufam Dalet, he was saying that the spheres are first in a state of Nekuda, and then they become parts. It's a Nekuda that's Toyo, parts of that's Tikva. He says, just like, so it's not the Pshah that all of a sudden a new thing was created. First it was created Nekuda, toyu, and then there's tikkun, unrelated. So that's not the case. It's the opposite. They're interconnected, interrelated in a way that one comes from the other. Just like in the mashal, the ilan and the chita and the vlad, first there's the gavin, which is the nekuda, and that itself develops into a ilan and a chita and a vlad. The same thing, the ma'ila kol ha'gedola zois, the way the olam ha'tikun, the adam, what we talk now in Pasach Eliyahu, the Chachma, Moicha, Bin Liba, the entire Tzil Adam of that Tzilus is really a development of the Nekud that was in Toy. Kol Agdodes Imamidas, the Toy Shabom, Eretz Amasach, El Zelor, this entire development of Atzilus is really a result of the Midas the Toy that are come from itself and matter to what's like a light that is planted. Just like the kernel, which has everything in the general way, and that is the source of the growing of the entire tree. Kacha, the good of the time, Knes Klal Blis, Halkas Madega Klal, Shabbat, the Shabbat Knes Oils the War, the way there, the Oils the Toy, the Kudas of Toy, and the way of Klolos, all these Halkas there, and the way of Oils the War, because they're really a light that was planted, Lias Mizrak, goes to Patsuf in the tea. So, in a way, I mean, obviously, everything is part of a big plan. So in a way, in this Maimar, he adds a new quetch to this entire story of Toy and Tikkun. So the way we Kabbalah usually talks about Toy and Tikkun, the matters of Toy and Machin, they created one world, then it didn't work. It was broke. It broke. And then it created another world. Even in Kabbalah, it's a shviras HaKelim, so the Kelim broke, and the Nitzutzes were spread all over, and then it was tikkun, and then it was fixed. So in these both of these descriptions of the yachas of Olam Hatoyin and Olam Tikkun, sounds like there was one way to do things, kilu, and then it didn't work out, and then it was the second way. But here it introduces a new twist to the story. That really, no, that's not the case. The Toyu is really the source of Tikkun. Toyu is like the original plan that eventually was fulfilled in Tikkun. That's a new way to look at it. But let's see where it takes. Again, Kamaya Gang Japanese class, man, Nasa Kala Dosa, and Kakan, this is the Toyu Prince class, please, Halkus. In other words, why was it first in a state of potential? That was really a preparation, an introduction to reach the stage of real tikkun. They share Patsuf and Tikkun because the Toyu. How does Tikkun develop from Toyu? The parts of from the Nakuda. In our Derech Moshe, that we take us back to the Moshe of the Ilam. The Moshe back the Ilam in Agarim. When we speak in the Moshe that the tree grows from the kernel, Yesh was a base nine. There's really two conditions in order for the Garim to turn into a tree, into an Ilan, we need two conditions. Two reasons why it's going to grow. That's a famous statement in all of Chassidus that the first condition for Garim, for kernel to turn into something that grows into a tree, into a fruit, into a grain, the original garin has to be nifsad. It has to be nifsad v'nirkam. It means it has to lose itself. It has to be total bottom. Nirkam is all garin. ועניין בזהו, דרך הלא הזמן, לקחת צמח, שהמאור ממשיך כעצמך וכיף הגר. But in that gufa, why does it need to be? Why does it need to be? Need to be an afset cover? Why the recover? Why does it have to be an afset and recovering the gar in order for the tzmicha to happen? There's really two reasons. That Aleph, it was Aleph, it's a type of Allah man. The beetle, I'm not sure what part of it talks about the physical, it actually happens in agricultural life. But we care more about the concept. The concept is that in order for the koyach tzemeach, which is the power that the Adama has, the land has to grow, the garin has to be bought. That's a last man. That's like it's also the tata to draw to do that. That koyach tzemeach. Whereas the Oidinium base, she's bat lachalokin is arm with skalakul. There's another point. He says, in order for the gari to grow, all its why they have to be recovered? Why does they have to be what's the word for recover? Why do they have to?
I think it's rotting.
No? Yeah, rotting. Okay. Why does it have to rot? He says, number one, it's also taught to be mafkach tzemech. Number two, that all the parts should stop before it rots. So there's a few parts to the garin, I guess. Each one has its own function. When it rots, it loses the ego, so to speak. Is batla halokim sheba beis'ala beis'kala kula. They should all be combined, and so the beetle makes them combined. The ine, but it goes into all detail. We just mentioned earlier, the way Sidus explained, that all the details that we specified earlier that the tree has, all the details of the tree, the trunk, the bark, the branches, the fruits, all of them are really exist in a state of potential in the garden. Now, they're all equal. The chitzenis and the pnimis are equal. There's no difference. When you look at the garden, you don't see a difference between what's going to turn into the tree, into the trunk of the tree, or the fruit. Each one has the same power. In order for that to reach that clarity, that eventually they're going to break down which part of the guy will turn into that part of the tree, the pnimis and the chitzenius. So here's a bit of wow. So it really goes into the martial, very meticulous elaboration how the martial operates in order for the garden to turn into a tree. And in the tree, you can have separate parts. You have the chitzenius, the pneumius, like we said. In order for that to happen, there has to be the recovering, because the recovering breaks down the garden. That makes it, that allows for the next step that each one should have its own part. So that itself needs a marshal also. Kamoyal derech marshal. That brings another marshal. Shoisim klimachatichas kesef, make a cup, and any vessel, any kli from a piece of silver. What do? You melt. You have to melt the silver. Take a piece of silver and melt it. You mix up all the parts, the entire piece of silver is mixed up, bottom and top. Only then can you turn the piece of silver after it's all melted and all parts of it are in equal footing. Only then can you turn it into a certain shape. For example, make a becher out of a piece of silver. The im loyatichu, if we will not melt the silver. For example, when you make a cup out of a piece of wood, a wood cannot be melted. What happens then? Okay, it's interesting. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. He's not talking about physical experience, but because the when let's say we cut out a cup out of a piece of wood, it's not true that whatever was the top of the wood is the top of the cup and the bottom is the bottom. But why does it matter? Is it that? But he said the ultimate way. It's interesting in this thing. The mashal and the nimshal, the mashal and the nimshal work together, because I don't see, unless I'm missing something, I don't see how in the mashal, the boiler appear kavana, that if it follows, if you make a shape out of a piece of wood which cannot be melted, you're not gonna, maybe you're not gonna achieve the ultimate result what you want. I'm not sure.
By the kesef, by the silver, if you want to make a different keli, that's obvious. In other words, let's say you have a cup and you want to make a spoon.
Yeah.
Then it really has to be melted completely down.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. That now what you're saying now is a good point. That's a different situation. Yeah. Okay, that's true. But okay. But here you want to show that think of kavana. It sounds like some kind of kavana means.
I think kavana here means like that your plan.
What?
Your intent.
Right.
Your intention.
Yeah, but the question is in a normal environment, why does it matter whether it's this says ואיך שמצד האלם יעילה ותחתיתם זה יכול להיות הכלי כפי שתדבר עליו על פי הכבוד, לאפשרות של כבוד. כן צריך להיות התוכן והישרבוס, מה שאין כאן in the silver, there must be a melting, mixing, but all that should be ציר הכלים אחרים. Maybe means to say that it's much harder to do it. I mean, we could say, very practical terms, maybe that if you want to make a perfect, it's much harder to make a perfect cup. Let's say, if you're limited by if you don't do it in wood, so there's a limit what you can do, because you can manipulate it as good as you can do it with glass or silver that can be melted. Okay, just 1 second, please.
Mandy,
Yeah.
you're here for Pesach or going away?
No, I'm already away.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, but you're in. So I see you're not outside of the United States, so you're here. I
Yeah,
mean,
man. The United States. I have a question. Did you guys understand the marshal of the melting of the cup and the wood?
yeah. So that's what he was saying. He was saying that that my understanding is if you want to make from one keli to a different keli, you need it to melt it down completely, or the edge, as R'Dovid is saying that if you want to make a different shape, it's gonna the best. I was thinking of different
Oh,
examples.
it's gonna. If you want to make a different shape, it's gonna interfere, basically.
Yeah.
I see that angle. Okay.
Yeah. Look, what you're saying is it's a very good illustration of the fact you don't have full control. If you did it if let's say the wood, you carved that one way, that's it. It's too late. You can't do something else anymore because you already messed up the wood. Schenken in silver, if it's melted, you can do whatever you want. So that's a very good. What you're saying is a good illustration, but the way he says it to you, okay.
Yeah, it is extreme example. But so what you said, what you're saying is true also. Like let's say another example I was thinking is if you have a house and you want to make it different, completely design, the easiest would be if you tear it down completely. In other words, let's say, what I'm saying, or rather if you
renovation.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I agree with you. But don't forget, over here, the whole thing, it's a mush for a mush. First, we start with the mush of the garden. We're going to explain why there has to be a recovery in a garden. So, but what you're saying now, it's actually true. That another, if you want to do something, you should work properly. Like you say, you have to destroy the house. And the same thing in here, there has to be a recovery in a garden. Working in a garden should be a previous Retzenis. The Retzenis is Shavik Moyapnimis. The garden itself, the kernel itself, before it rots, it's equal. ואם לא יהיה ביטל בחלוק שבהם, לא ייסר ולא יתייח גם פנימית כמו שמצטרף לשחק הבא הגדול. וכל שלא יתייח, ידבר למעבר, אוקיי, צריך לזרוק על הרבים. So basically, to explain, first of all, let's go back. It starts with tut noin, read it smicha. The first night is the recovery. So in order to explain the recovery, he went into a discussion. Number one, the reason we need the recovery in this question is to be mamsha, the koyach hatzameir, has to be social the last month. The second point is it should mix in a way that each one can be the proper source of the parts of the tree. For that, you want another marshal from kesef, from melting. The recovery is like melting, like you said now, like to destroy it in order to build. So that's the first night. Base, the other condition in order for the tree to grow properly from the garden. The second condition is azir tia b'karka has to be a wet ground. That has water, wet. It's wet. Number one, the wetness that itself makes the garden in a state of rot. The water, the hydration, that makes the growth of the tree. Even when the tree starts growing, constantly must be watered. Yes, needs water, either rain or water vanish. Even if there's no water, it's not going to grow properly. The loss is also make shaman. It needs the wetness, what's the word? The fluid water, the validity.
Isn't it dampness?
Dampness. Okay, dampness. Yeah, you're right. Dampness. נחשב שעל איזה דווקא תצמיח, כמו שכוסו, like the pasuk says, after of a time is, כאשר ירד הגשם והשם מהשמיים, ושם על יושם, כי היא ובצורת. The גשם satiates the earth. כמו כן, בגוס הבלד, similarly in the story, or in the marshal of blood, ועל ידי אכילה שתאכל ותזן נעים מה שחומר יבור. How does the blood grow? To the food that the mother eats while she's pregnant, while she carries him. Kamaima, like the mother says, the blood, the mother's blood becomes the highest of the blood. Okay. It's a question. Why do we need it? Why do we need? Why does the guy need this condition that has water? It has to be water. We know for a fact. We said that's what the state earlier that the guy and the tipa have in a potential state everything that's eventually going to grow out of it. Why do we need another like partner to add to the tzmicha, which is the water or the food that the mother is eating? Because the way it states, the way it exists within the tipa and within the garden, it's in a very diminished state. Doesn't have to. The fact that the garden and the tipa has the potential, then whatever is going to grow out of it eventually, doesn't really mean that it has to reach that stage. Really, the tzmicha goes back to the marshal of the tzmicha. It's shalei berach to the garden, but wherever it grows, the tree is shalei berach to the garden. Oh, still, we compare the way a tree goes from a kernel to yesh ma'ayin, something from nothing. That's what it says in Yigas HaKodesh. She explains that the union of tzmicha is in the earth, is a unique power that the earth has that can create yesh ma'ayin. Similarly, the fact that the fetus is created and developed out of a tipa, out of a very tiny genetic material, it's also a huge leap and creation from nothing. And the bina is beish. Okay, that's already not. That doesn't mean in a literal sense, but the fact that the isha has been a it means she has special powers. That's why she can take the tipa and can turn it into a blood. Fish
well, I think Bina Yetera is just this referring that's a great wonder, no something that context. No. It's not Davka Bina Yetera. So why Bina Yetera has to do with the Velat? What's the connection?
I'm explaining to you why. Because the Isha takes the tipa and turns it into a blood. That's what this is a special power that the female has. And what is the power of the female? Okay, that's what he means to say, but I don't know why he talks. He says very, in other words, in the Yigas HaKodesh, he talks about the koyach, the oretz, a special koyach nifla sheba the gadol sagarit. He says similarly, in talks the isha, we can say the same thing. The isha bina yisera has special power to take the tipa and turn it into blood. I mean, in other places, it explains more the connection between the sale to this. Here, it talks very berets. Al-Kapanim, the fish, because the yachas of the gari to the ilan, or the tip of the blood is bein ha'arech, it's such a huge leap. This is why the gari on its own, if you put the gari stam on the table on its own, but that other partners it's not going to grow because in order for it to grow, it's a huge leap. We need something else to add to it. So that is the mashal. So it was a whole page that is spent describing this aspect of the mashal, that the fact that the garlic turns into a tree. It's a huge leap. It needs a partner. It needs interference in the mind. What is the nimshul? What is in fact? They should dollars of patzufim. Meaning the atzilus, meaning kodesh the toyu, and other than the kodesh the toyu should turn into patzufim patzilus. So here's gila elish amalamita. Has to be an additional gilui, an additional revelation of a higher element to the above toyu boinam naslista v'sesam naslivnes. Well, kein nimsham alim sof shal amalamita leisatikon. So he brings here what I said earlier, that we said that the it says Melamed Shai Kodesh Baruch Hu Amar Bavo in Medrash. He created the world and he didn't like, and this died him. It was what earlier the Hemshach was sure. He says these elements I'm not happy with. Then they don't fulfill my purpose. Then he built Elamatika. So the point what he's saying is when he created Toyu, it was Avanas Lista. You already knew obviously in advance that that's not going to work and he's going to destroy it. With Saisam, then he'll get to destroy Toyu. Avanas Lista is out to build Tika. So this is the alien which is above both Toyu and Tikkun. He has this entire process. He builds this process. So he is the one that he's the one who says I'm not sleeping. He creates Toyu. So now the Toyu should turn into Tikkun. Then the Kudah should turn into Parzuf, which is a mashal. So that alien, this is the mashal of that was the water that helps the guy turn into a new. The in shame mad tikra motion ba'atnis sof shalamayla mit shesh hatoyu kanayid binyan vo'u over lifnei. The pasuk says that when they get to Yaakov and Esau, remember it says in Pasuk Vayishlach vo'u over lifnei. That Yaakov came above him. So it says, let's explain vo'u lifnei. That's the material lifnei, which is above Torah. This is the source of the tzmich of the Torah in the Tikkun.
But this is like recover, no? The fact that the recover at the Garin, the fact that the two was
no. At this point, they didn't speak anything about the recover is the seisa. You're right. The seisa, in fact, the shiur, that's the seisa. That's the recover. You're right. Yeah. He didn't. He'll talk about it further. So there's the recover, which is the seisa, and okay, good point. And the boiner, that is boiner. That's like.
But why the toe is the Garin?
What?
Why the toe is similar to the Garin?
Yeah, of course. No, that's what is part of the last 2 pages. The kudah of Toyu, that's the nimshul, the mashal, and the kudas of Toyu, that's the garin. That's the kernel. This is the whole premise in the final. The nekuda is the mashal to the nekudas of Toyu is the garin. Okay, so now like this. Tomorrow for sure we're not learning, but Chalamoid, I still didn't decide. I don't know if Sunday morning I'll be able to. But I'll let you know what's a yontif, please. Okay.
All right.
Shkoyach.
Kosher for the Pesach.
Kosher for the Pesach.
Shkoyach.